Hi, this is Sujit Paul here, the author of Freeing Your Inner Self-Awareness, Journey of Awakening, and many more. Today's mastery session would involve you to understand that how should you actually speak and what does true successful people actually talk and how do they speak. Whilst it's very easy to speak whatever flows out, because I think that tongue is the worst enemy at times that it can become. But I have seen people, or I have seen successful CEOs, now so-called successful in today's environment have various different kinds of meanings. When I mean that, I actually meant that CEOs and vice presidents and presidents of large organizations who do not have control over what they speak. Now it's very important that what you speak, how you speak. Today's mastery session is to take you through a journey to understand that how should you actually speak. While there are various purviews of that, the primary thing is that you have to be extremely careful of what you utter out as a word and throw out to the universe. Now what you utter out and throw out to the universe is what would make lot of change in terms of your own physiology, the way the universe would perceive about you, the way people would perceive about you, so on and so forth. There are various languages that ideally, if you really sit down and think, you will see that you should not use those words because those are not relevant and rational words that you should use. Now, in today's language discussions, I find youngsters, I find organizational managers, people in the position in the organizations, they use whatever words that comes from their mouth, because it like throws out wild venom outside when you speak to your colleagues, when you speak to your friends, when you speak to your family, neighbors, so on and so forth. Now, what is the lesson that we are passing on to our colleagues, friends, family, so on and so forth? Now, whatever you speak, just remember and think yourself, if those are the words that actually comes back to you at a consistent level, then what happens to your mind and body? Now, I'm not trying to use those words out here because it may not be very appropriate, but you can pick out those words that your boss or your colleague or you at times speak to people which you feel should not be spoken. Even the bare simple word like what the etc. or it's very cool or even in today's environment, I find Indians using American English like guy, etc. Now, there are two parts of it that I spoke just now. One part is the usage of the right word. The other part is that, for example, if someone say, hey, if you've done such a mistake, you should be hanged. Now, the word you should be hanged, I'm just trying to use the easiest of the ones. There are hundreds of things that I find in today's environment people use which should not be used. Now, imagine if consistently those are being told, what would happen to the self-esteem of that person as well as of you? Today's CEOs, today's entrepreneurs, today's so-called senior leaders, they do not understand the power of usage of the right word. They do not understand the power of calmness. They do not understand the power of silence. Now, if the way you speak to people is through a mode of anger, is through a mode of wrath, is through a mode of your frustration taking out, that's the worst thing that can happen in the society, in your family, in your household, in your neighbors, in the organization, so on and so forth. So it's extremely important that even if you cannot control the others, you need to know at your own self what are the words that you will use? What are the statements that you will state? How you will actually articulate? How you will not throw the act of venom and poison from your mouth to the others. You are supposed to be as polite and humble. You should ideally vow and take the oath that you should be like the humblest person in the room. That would make all the difference for you. Why I'm saying this is because this is what I believe in, this is what I practice. People who work very closely with me, they know the way how I conduct the meetings. I have been part of various organizations across my career. Till today, I do not recollect using such unparliamentary words which is not appropriate. We all get angry, we all get upset, but there is a way to handle those situations. If you are not under your control, your words of vengeance should not be the outflow. I have also seen that people or senior leaders, they just vomit out as much as possible and puke out anger, frustration, agony. Trust in me, these are not only for you, these are what they are undergoing at their own life, at their own family, and with their own health, with their own situations, and everything clubbed together is what they vomit out. So you need to know how to absorb at that point of time and stay calm. If you don't stay calm, then your calmness goes out. Do not allow your remote control to go on someone else's hand. So today's mastery session is all about what kind of words, what kind of speech you should actually use so that it is not only beneficial for everyone around you but also for you. See, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, APJ Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Obama, the way they used to speak is what actually makes a lot of difference. And that is the reason we respect them so much. That is the reason I find that people hate people at times when they use words which should not be used, when they use the way it should not be used, when they vomit out venom. So it's very important. Use the right words, speak the appropriate languages, think before you utter a statement, and build a beautiful surrounding around you. And that's what legendary leaders practice, because they know that the power of word can actually make or break a relationship.